car, it's a lot, because there is so much wasted energy, a lot of it doesn't really matter, right? The heat, if you crank the heat in your gas car, it doesn't make a difference. An electric car makes a big difference. So yeah, turn off the heat. If it's that, if it depends on how, sort of.
Yeah. Or the air conditioning, or.
Yeah, whatever, just turn off the climate control. And actually, that's one thing about electric cars is they make it super easy. There's usually a button there, it's like on or off. You can turn the whole thing off. And immediately you'll see the estimated range will go up as soon as you turn it up. Even if you just turn the heat down. A lot of people don't notice this, but if you're just stopped in your car, it's in park, you got the heat on, if you turn the heat down, you'll notice your range indicator will go up. You just gain yourself an extra 5 kilometers of range just by turning it down.
Well, how about if you're not doing anything at all like that, and all of a sudden you're on the freeway and I just got another 30.
Yeah.
Or it's not dropping.
Yeah.
Your range isn't dropping. What's
The estimate in the gauge, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would mean
sometimes
that.
I've driven 20K and it hasn't changed.
Yeah, that can happen because remember that's just an estimate. So all it's doing is it's just taking into account. It says, okay, there's X amount of energy left in the battery.
Yeah.
He's been driving it kind of like this. Put those two numbers together, and this is your estimate. Right?
I've noticed that too, but I think in practice you're going down a small slope that you haven't. And so if you come back the same road, I'll let you will lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite often in a gas car, you don't really notice it, but in an electric car you would, which is if you have a tailwind. If you're on the highway and you've got a tailwind, that would make a big difference on your range. Versus driving into a headwind,
Yeah.
that will be the opposite.
When it says maximum and minimum,
Yep.
I'm still a bit confused. So the minimum is,
Yeah, it's again, they're all estimates. All three of those numbers are estimates, and all three of them are based on your style of driving, how you've been like it. It takes into account the past several hundred kilometers of driving, right? And the high one's going to be, well, I mean, if you keep on driving the way you're driving, but if you were to maybe slow down a little bit, or use the heater a little bit less, or depending on like whether you're driving on the highway or in the city, that makes a big difference on the range too. You could get as much as that amount. That's like sort of the upper limit of what it's estimating you could get. Versus the bottom number is saying, well, if you didn't really care, if you had the heat cranked and you're whatever, you're just sort of driving like at higher speeds, then you could at least get that much. I really like that feature of the Bolt. No other electric car that I know of actually does that. It tells you that gives you actually 3 estimates on your range. The middle one is sort of the average of the 2. But because it's super handy when you are making a slightly longer trip, and if you know you've got 200 kilometers to go until you reach your destination, and that lower number says you're good for 220 or up to 350 or whatever it is, then you don't have to worry about it. But if it's sort of like, if it's in that range, then you might want to start thinking about like turning down the heat a little bit, or maybe not driving quite as fast, just to make sure that you get there.
Well, I find in the winter, after dark,
Yeah.
raining, I use a lot more power.
Yeah.
My range drops down by as much as 30%.
Yeah.
Under those conditions.
Quick show of hands, out of the people that have electric cars here, how many of you have bought your car just like in the past few months, like in the winter time, basically? Okay. So none of you have actually driven your car when it's warm out. So this is a really interesting thing. I've been getting this question a lot more in the past few months, because when you take your car home and you start driving it, hey, my car's supposed to go like 400 kilometers on a charge, but it's only telling me I can go like 320. What's that all about? The temperature outside makes a big difference in the range that you should expect to get out of your car. And there's ways to counteract that, but the estimate in the gauge cluster is taking the outside temperature into account as well, because the car knows at a lower temperature that battery's just not going to give you quite as much range. Now,
what is that?
the way to, 2 things. So the heat, obviously, you are using heat. If you turn off the heat and you don't mind being bundled up in the cold and just like having gloves on, then it's fine. It probably won't you'll notice the range will be pretty close. But it still won't be quite as good as it is in the summer, and that's just because of the chemistry of the battery. So I talked earlier about how batteries don't really like the heat. They also don't really like the cold. And that same system that cools down the battery in the summertime or when it's charging actually can reverse that and keep the battery nice and warm in the wintertime too. But that, of course, doing that takes more energy. So that's called battery conditioning. in your infotainment display, it'll show you exactly how much energy the car is using for battery conditioning. Come summertime, it won't use any energy for battery conditioning, and all that extra energy gets used towards your range. Okay? And then also the chemistry in the battery doesn't really like the cold temperatures. Now, that said, if you're using one of these chargers or one of these chargers even, and your car is always plugged in when it's at home, parked, even if it's outside, as soon as the temperature gets down and that conditioning usage for the battery kicks in, it's going to be using that electricity rather than the onboard electricity. So keeping your car plugged in overnight definitely makes a big difference on how much range you can expect to get in the wintertime. If you leave your car parked out on the street, not plugged in the winter, your range estimate is going to be a lot lower than somebody who keeps their car plugged in overnight. That makes a big difference. And then also the other benefit to doing that is you can set up a departure timer in your car. So if you know that you're getting up and going to work every morning at 7 a.m., you set it to preheat the car at that time. And then two benefits. Obviously, one, you've got a nice warm car when you first get out there, but it's using we call it shore power. It's like, if a boat was plugged in at the dock, it's using that power from your house rather than from the car. And then you leave and you're driving along in your nice warm car and you haven't even used any battery power at all to warm your car up yet.
I noticed when I got into the car, we had so much to cover yesterday. I noticed when I got in, as soon as I turned it on, the steering wheel was warm.
Yeah.
Is it set? It was set. It's set.
Yeah, these cars have automatic seat heaters and steering wheel heaters. So you can turn that off if you don't like it, but it does. Yeah, it does
It's
come
just
on
a little
automatically.
button that goes on and off.
It depends on the temperature. Yeah, if it's cold enough outside, it'll just
So
come
it
on
senses
automatically.
the temperature.
Yep. Yeah, it will.
I'll show
And then-
you.
Yeah, so those departure timers, you'll see them in the screens. They're the charging screens, and you might wonder what they're there for. And that's exactly why. If you automatically preheat your car, you don't have to use those. You can use the app. So you've got there's a My Chevrolet app, and most electric cars have some sort of an app. You can do it remotely. Yeah. Or you can just use your key. They all have that. There's a remote starter on the key too. So if your car's plugged in and you just walk up to your window and it's parked out in your driveway, and you just press that button. It's like starting up your car, but all it's doing is just preheating it. And that works in the summertime as well. For air conditioning. Yeah. Any other questions? No? I will mention, since we're probably near the end here, I have set up a referral program. There's some details of it on the table there. And so anybody that, and what I'll mention, and you guys, if you've already got an electric car, you might have noticed this, but you'll get a lot of questions about your car. So when you go home or you go to visit your friends and you mention to them that you drive an electric car, you're going to get absolutely inundated with questions. And unfortunately, I'm guessing, a lot of you probably don't have the answers, or hopefully now you have some more answers to some of those questions. That's part of the idea, is to have an information session so that when you go out there and you're chatting with your friends and family about electric cars, about your experiences, at least you got a little bit more information that you can share with them, right? And that's my experience personally as well. I can't tell you how many times I've walked out to my car. It's like plugged into a charging station, and there's a note on my windshield from somebody that's just curious. They want to know. It happens all the time. So people want to know about it, and I want to make sure that you guys know the right answers to those questions, obviously. So we do have a referral program that I think that whole idea is to sort of capitalize on that, obviously, but it's there if you're interested. We do offer a special deal it's for an accessories package. You can earn credits towards the accessories package. Yeah, based on the people that you refer to us. Yeah, and the people that you refer get a discount on accessories as well. So you get them for free. Your friends get a discount. Win-win for everybody.
What kind of accessories?
Any accessory at all, anything that's available for the Bolt. I've got that